Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Clicks to Riches Show, the only POD-centered show on YouTube dedicated to putting money into your pocket. My name is Martin, expert consultant here at Printify and host for today's festivities. My friends, it's February, and that means that it's Design Month on the Clicks to Riches Show. You heard it right. We're dedicating the entire month to the art and science of design in the world of print on demand. Now, design can be a tricky beast. 1 minute you're channeling your inner Picasso, and the next you're wondering if a toddler took over your graphics tablet. But fear not. This month, we're here to guide you through the do's and don't do's of creating designs that not only catch the eye, but also open the wallet. And later in the show, we'll be joined by Trent Luer from Technically Trent on YouTube. He's a seasoned software developer who discovered the world of print on demand in 2020, and since then, he's been blending his passion for art and technology. And he's here to share his insights on what makes a design truly stand out. He's also a mentor on Printify Sellers Club, and we'll be exploring all that a little bit later. So whether you're a seasoned designer or someone who's just discovered that Comic Sans is not the pinnacle of typography, stick around. By the end of the episode, you'll have the tools and tips to turn those clicks into riches. Like what I did there?
I love that. That was a great intro.
With me, as always, is my partner in crime, Leah. Leah, how you doing today? You excited?
Hello. Oh, I'm super happy to be here.
Good. You're looking great in your Clicks to Riches hoodie, by the way. I know, it's looking good. How are you at design, by the way?
I'm okay. I'm not terrible, but I'm definitely not like a super pro by any means, so.
Sure, and like, if I think back at the conversations that I've had with merchants at the beginning of their journey, like a lot of them are intimidated by the whole design process. Well, folks, let me just be honest with you to say there's no reason to be intimidated, because there are the tools out there that are super well designed for people at the beginning stages of their journey. And believe me, if I can create designs, anybody can. In no world would anybody consider me a graphic designer, but somehow I still managed to get it done. And quite frankly, whereas it is the most intimidating part at the beginning, once merchants in the beginning stages get used to it and have the fun and get to exercise that creative part of their brain, they often tell me that it's the most rewarding part of the process. Knowing that your designs are out there selling, generating you money, and people are out there in the world wearing them around and enjoying them, it's very, very rewarding to think about, okay? So Leah, what's that chat looking like today?
Super active as usual. We actually have like 3 or 4 people from Arizona, so shout out to Vicky, Tyron, who else was from Arizona? Abandoned Arizona. Shout out to the Grand Canyon State.
Wonderful. All right, we got someone joining in from Trent's channel too, right?
Yes, we have Artsy Lady Crafter. She says hello from the Southeast US, and she's visiting from Trent's channel. Hello.
Wonderful. All right, now that's Technically Trent on YouTube. Welcome all you folks to the Clicks to Riches show. We're gonna have a lot of fun today. And folks, we're gonna wrap everything up a little bit later with an action plan so you can put all the information that we present to you today to work, so to drive your profitability. And we're gonna be covering a lot of topics. There's a lot of information in today's episode. So as those questions come up, if you have questions about the news stories that we cover or anything that's covered by Trent, once those come to you, pop those into the chat, and then our moderator Talish will collect those, and then we'll address those at the dedicated Q&A portion a little bit later in today's show. So no need to hang on to them and put them all in at the very end. Just when they come to mind, pop those in. Talish will take care of it from there. Okay? And if you are a regular viewer of the Clicks to Riches show, you know we like to give away some prizes. And if you're just joining us for the first time, guess what? We're going to give you plenty of opportunities to win some prizes. Not only are we going to give away a coupon code here at 3 points in today's show for $15 of Printify sales credit, but if you stick around to the end, we're going to pop in a link so that you can fill out our post-show survey, where 3 of you will be randomly chosen to receive a Clicks to Riches exclusive t-shirt and $50 of Printify sales credit placed directly into your account. But I mentioned it just a second ago about that $15 coupon code. So what do you say we give away our first coupon code now? Okay? Folks, I'm gonna need you to take out your Printify account, because those of you who put in the code the fastest, the 3 of you that put in the code the fastest, will be eligible to win $15 of Printify sales credit. So on the left-hand side, click on Wallet. Then where it says Reward Center, click there, and then find the coupon section, and you'll find the box labeled Enter Coupon Code. And again, the 3 of you that put in this next code the fastest will instantly win $15. Now you won't see any big bells and whistles, and confetti is not going to fall from the rafters. You'll either get the $15 or you'll see the notice that says this coupon doesn't exist because we only made 3 of them. All right, well, let's get to it. I love giving away stuff, so the first coupon code of today's episode is Design for the Win. All one word, spelled just like this. Remember, it is case sensitive. I can hear fingers feverishly tapping all over the world. And folks, if you did win, let us know in the chat so we can all celebrate. But don't worry, if you didn't win or if you're a little bit slow on the typing, you're going to have 2 more opportunities to win here in just a little bit. But let's go ahead and keep this show rolling because I want to cover the latest breaking news in the world of print on demand. And we're going to be popping a lot of links into the into the chat. We're going to be covering a lot of topics, but just know that those links can also be found in the video description as well, okay? So we just want to make sure you have access to all this information as we go through it. So from our folks at Shopify, they just released their January 2025 trend report, and I love featuring stuff like this because it really gives you an insight into what's going on one of the biggest sales platforms out there, Shopify. And wedding essentials, that's almost a surprise because it's not quite wedding season, but it's actually a very lucrative part of the print-on-demand experience, and I worked with plenty of merchants in the past that have focused on weddings and things like that. But of course, baby essentials, fitness gear, dietary and wellness products. I mean, we have our CPG supplements, don't we?
Yeah.
Exactly. And snow-related items, of course, there's no mystery there. But interestingly enough, the sale of hockey pucks are up 32%. Hockey pucks. And I don't know if you know this, but we actually have hockey pucks.
We have hockey pucks in the catalog.
Exactly, we sure do. So take this information on board, and hopefully it'll guide your decisions here in February, because not a lot of difference between January and February. Yeah, you got Valentine's Day and the like, but there you go.
I do have to say real quick, we have a winner for the first coupon. The name is Martin. Not this Martin, a different Martin, so congrats, Martin.
Oh, congratulations to my namesake out there. But guess what, Martin? Not only did you win this time, but you can also win the other times as well. There's no limit to how many times you can win. So congratulations out there. Just proving people actually do win. Moving on, eBay partners with Facebook Marketplace. Now, I love what this signifies because this is a great harbinger for our industry. It shows that sales platforms are collaborating with social media, and I think we're going to see more of this year, just some more cross-collaboration that our merchants out there can take advantage of. And we're going to pop in a link to our guide to selling on eBay. Plus, we've got like a ton of videos on our channel about selling on eBay. So it's definitely, if you're thinking about how to diversify your business this year and you're selling on like Etsy or another marketplace, switching over and adding eBay as part of your POD empire, there's a very easy transitional period, and it'll be very fundamental to you if you're already familiar with marketplaces.
Let us know in the chat, actually, if you already are selling on eBay, kind of what your experiences have been, or if you've recently made a transition there. Let us know and share with others.
Oh, and I love highlighting this stuff, moment merch. Now, we're just going to touch on this quickly, but this is one of the biggest advantages you have as a print-on-demand merchant over traditional retailers, okay? When stuff happens in the popular culture and the zeitgeist, you can capitalize that by creating a design as quickly as possible using one of your design tools, and then getting this merch out there for people to buy once this idea still exists in popular culture. And 2 examples are the Philadelphia Elgazes and the I Survived the Florida Blizzard. Now, the mayor of Philadelphia went out and painfully tried to spell the word Eagles ahead of their Super Bowl appearance. But enterprising merchants capitalized on that and got merch out there right away. And someone's out there taking advantage of it and putting some coin in their pocket. Same thing with the Florida Blizzard as well, okay? And shout out to all our folks in the Panhandle that had to shovel their driveway for the first time in probably like 15 years.
If you're ever wondering how to jump on these viral moments so fast, hang out where your customers, where your community is at. If you're a giant Eagles fan, you probably caught this, slap it on a t-shirt. So wherever your fan base community is, that's where you're gonna catch those viral sayings.
Exactly, and the faster you can do it, the faster you can get out in front of the competition and start capturing sales while this is still in the forefront of people's minds. And then a shout out to our friends over at Printful, our new best friends, by the way. They just made a major investment into their fulfillment network by purchasing 68 or I want to make sure I get this number correctly.
86.
86. See, I got those numbers backwards. 86 Cornet digital printing machines, just to show their commitment here post-merger to making sure that their network has the latest and greatest in technology. And again, it's only you folks out there that are going to benefit from that. So shout out to Printful, and congratulations to making the right steps here in 2025. But let's shift gears just slightly and talk about trending products. Now, what I've done here is I've taken some of our sales data and I've sort of taken out the traditional top sellers, the hoodies, the t-shirts, sweatshirts, things like that. And I look for the outliers that have been trending recently. And that's what I have on screen for you here. Car magnets and bumper stickers. What does that say about car culture? I don't know. Wall tapestries, again, part of the wedding season. Like if anybody's selling wall tapestries, it's the wedding industry. I just know when I see those ticking up, it's all about weddings. Desk mats and calendars, of course, selling, but hardcover journals. Now, this is something that is like really, really exploding right now especially on Etsy.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, go to eRank if you have it. It's a free tool also. Green everywhere, but there's so many different sub niches for journals. My initial thought was new year, new me, people are journaling. No, not just that. There's pregnancy journals, anniversary journals, grief journals, manifestation, baby journals. Every type of journal that you can think of, people are looking for it.
Exactly.
And especially even personalized journals. I looked at Google Trends and it was going up the past 30 days.
Exactly.
Personalized journals.
That's not the last time we're going to mention the word personalization today, so just to let you know. And here's what to keep an eye on in terms of the sales season that is coming up. You've got your National Pet Day, Employee Appreciation Day, and of course, International Women's Day and St. Patrick's Day. And how did I come up with these? How did I find these dates? Well, you can find them in our 2025 e-commerce sales guide, sales and marketing guide. We're going to pop that into the chat right now. It'll also be available in the description. But there you can find all of these, not only the big holidays, but these smaller, less known holidays that are niche holidays that are sprinkled in between, which is a great opportunity for you to capitalize on, if it aligns with your niche, to let people know about it, because not everybody knows that February 20th is National Love Your Pet Day. But if you're selling pet merch, it's a great opportunity for you to reach out.
I want to just say too, even if your products don't directly align with these like niche holidays, you can still use this to your advantage in social media content, just as a way to engage or acknowledge those people who do maybe buy from your shop and kind of celebrate that little day.
Very well put. Very well put. Any excuse you can get out and engage with your audience is a good excuse. Speaking of our friends over at eRank, this is the latest data from the eRank Trends report that I have gathered for you guys, and there's not a lot of difference from what you see here from what we presented to you in the last episode of the Clicks to Riches show. So it just goes to show you the power of these trends and how long they sustain themselves on one of the most popular platforms for POD sellers. That's Etsy. Valentine's gift for her, Galentine's, wall art and home decor. Pretty much the exact same trending keywords that we featured last time.
So listen to us the first time we say it. It's probably a little too late now for Valentine's Day, but
yeah, exactly. But hey, just to go to show, when we give you the info on the Clicks to Riches show, it's important to act on it to add to your profitability. So, what is new at Printify? And this is something I am super excited to be featuring, because we just rolled out this week new personalization features. Automated personalization we've rolled out for our Etsy community, and this is big news because we've totally revamped the way personalization works on Printify. We've made it super easy and intuitive and eliminated some of those steps that were just unnecessary, and streamlining the process, giving you the freedom and flexibility to capture this lucrative market of personalized products even better than before. Now, we not only allow you to mark products as personalizable, but it also allows you to not alter your order fulfillment flow, so you can have your non-personalized items go to production seamlessly, but while keeping those items that need personalization on hold for you to act on in your account. And it's super easy to do. And as far as creating the products, we give you the opportunity to put in a customizable text box in the product creation phase that you can alter later according to your customers' preferences. I think this is super awesome. I've been waiting for developments like these for years. They're finally here, and we're just making it easy for you to fulfill personalized orders. And anybody can do it, folks. Anybody can do it.
Now, right now it is only available for Etsy, but we know it's super popular for Shopify, Amazon, everything else. We will be expanding it. This is just the tip of the iceberg.
Exactly. All right, you can enter some information for your customers so they know what information to provide to you in order to personalize those products. And we put together some really awesome information for you to peruse at your leisure. We're going to pop in a link to a Help Center article about this and a super cool video that my partner here, Leah, published just yesterday on personalization. It's a complete guide, soup to nuts, for you to understand exactly how to operate this feature and fulfill all those personalized products from today on and moving forward. And you can see the benefits therein. I mean, increased customer engagement and loyalty. This stuff really speaks for itself. Basically, you're positioning yourself to capture sales you wouldn't otherwise be positioned to capture. And adding this as a layer onto your existing business strategy is you're going to be able to capture all those extra orders and put that extra money in your pocket. And because this is something that customers are willing to pay a little bit extra for. Okay, and we make it super easy and a way to set yourself apart from the competition, of course. So get out there and offer personalized designs, people. I can't stress this enough. We've made it easier than ever. So do yourself a favor and learn this tactic and get yourself some personalized orders out there. All right. Moving on, embroidery design update. This is going to be real quick. Very excited now that embroidery is back on our platform. We've made that process a little bit more easier. We're being able to scale those designs in the product creator a little bit more easy, and also offering some more color options as well. And we're going to pop in an article about that as well. But expect big things from embroidery and personalization as well in 2025 as we roll out more features.
Imagine if you combine those two. Personalized embroidery, it's gonna explode.
I know,
it
right?
has.
Exactly. Well, folks, I'm nothing if not a shameless self-promoter, so join me to talk about the things that you want to talk about. Maybe some of the issues that we discuss in today's episode of the Clicks to Riches show, or anything on your mind, the roadblocks in your way. Join me on the Sellers Club Mondays and Wednesdays for my live Q&A sessions, and sit down with me one-on-one and let's learn together. And let me be a small part of your success. One of the cool things about my job that I love is being able to help you along in your journey. And that all happens on the Sellers Club. Now, Sellers Club is your place to be if whether you are just starting out or whether you're, regardless of the stage that you are on in your journey. It's only $5 a month, and you have access to mentorships like myself and Trent, our guest today, and all sorts of different courses. And it's a great learning resource for you to take advantage of. But use code Launchpad2025 and sign up for free. Get your first month free. You're going to love it, and I'll see you there on Mondays and Wednesdays. But let's switch gears yet again to the subject at hand. That's why all you folks are tuned in today, because we're here to learn about design. And I want to talk a little bit about the questions you should be asking yourself first before you ever put pen to paper, so to speak, okay? First of all, you got to ask yourself, who is your target audience? You'd be surprised how many times I sit down with merchants that are having struggles in the beginning stages of their journey and telling me, I've been at this for months and I just can't get any sales. And then I take a look at what they're selling and there is absolutely no clear message. They're designing products that are not related to one another. And I ask them, like, who are these for? And they're like, I don't know. Well, and like, there's your first mistake. Let's sit down. Let's talk about target customers. Let's talk about let's talk about their demographics. Let's identify their needs, how they change over time, and how you can address those with your products and with your designs. And speaking of those designs, how do those designs align with current trends? And how are you going to know what those current trends are without checking out your competition? Now, this is another aspect of this process we're going to be harping on today is competitor research. If you don't know what your competition is doing, you don't know which way the winds are blowing, and you also can't identify the gaps in the market, whether there are opportunities for fresh designs or like what are the trending colors. Things like that are very, very important to know, and you wouldn't know that if you're not checking out your competition. Okay? And let's talk about your brand identity. That is super important. Whether you're a brand builder or not, it's important to have a unified focus, okay? And that's across not only your products, your designs, but also your social media messaging or the emails that you're sending out. It's important that your customers understand exactly what that message is and who it's for. Because I say this all the time. You can put out a great message and get a lot of sales. You can put out a bad message and get some sales. But you put out a confusing message, you will get no sales whatsoever. Okay? So make sure everything aligns. Make sure everything aligns across those lines. And ask yourself, how will you stand apart from the competition? What makes you different than a competitor? Because you have to raise that value proposition in your customer's mind to the point where they say to themselves, whether it's consciously or subconsciously, it's worth it to me to spend that $25 on this particular product rather than keeping that $25 in my pocket or spending it with your competitors. You raise that value proposition high enough, they will convert into a paying customer. And again, competitor research is going to be your key to deciphering this aspect of the process.
I think this kind of ties in with that brand identity nicely, because if you do have a nice cohesive brand identity, people are going to recognize all of your products if they pop up somewhere compared to your competition, right? If nobody has brand identities and you do, they're going to see some sort of pattern like, oh, okay, this is really nice. I recognize this. I trust this seller. I know this brand.
Exactly. It's all about how you can offer value that your competition cannot. So, and then you have to have a comprehensive plan in place to gather information on your designs. What do your customers think? How can you improve them? And make sure, whether that's through like a customer survey that you send out or you're reading those reviews as they come in, it's important to remember that you can learn so much from a bad review that it's almost a godsend when one of those comes in. Just so you know where to put the focus in on your business. Okay.
And read your competition's feedback. Read their reviews. Where are they lacking that you could maybe fill in those gaps?
Right. And how would you know that what your competition's feedback is? Competitor research. Exactly. Well, let's take a deeper dive and go a level deeper and continue our design discussion. Leah, what do you have for our audience today on design?
Yes. So we kind of just talked about some overall basics here, what to ask yourself. Some other things that we need to think about is design basics before you start designing, okay? I'm not gonna show you how to create a design. We're gonna leave that to Trent. He's gonna give you some really good tips. But think about these things when you're thinking of creating your design. First and foremost, think of the actual product that you are designing. Think of the materials and what it's made of, okay? For example, a 100% cotton t-shirt is going to absorb ink differently than a 100% polyester t-shirt, differently than the 50-50 blend, okay? A ceramic mug or maybe an eco-friendly item is gonna print a little bit differently than other items. So your design might look a little bit different. Now, I'm gonna share my Printify account here just to show you that whatever product you choose to design, you can see right on the product details page what that item is made of. So I have women's shorts here, for example. They're AOP product or all over print. Most all over print clothing items will be made of 100% polyester, so it's gonna print differently than a Gildan 5000 t-shirt, for example. So if we see the t-shirt details page here, we see that it's 100% cotton. We can click on product details and we can see even more. We'll see that solid colors are 100% cotton, but heather colors and some others are a 50-50 blend. So you might wanna think about that a little bit when you are offering these colors, that the design might look slightly different based on how the ink has absorbed. Now, not just materials, but you also wanna think about the printing technique, okay? Is it direct to garment? Is it direct to film? Is it sublimation or is it embroidery? You know, they're all gonna act a little bit differently coming out. And this is something that we can see as well on the product details page. So this sweatshirt, for example, we know, okay, it can either be DTG or embroidery. The same with the t-shirt. If we look at the print providers here, we see it's got different tags, direct to garment, direct to film. Our shorts, AOP products mostly are going to be sublimation. So printing technique also will affect that final product and its design. Now, let's move on a little bit. We're gonna go into the product creator. When you're creating your design, you wanna have a high resolution design. If you do not meet those standards that we have in the product creator here, every product will have this info button, and you can see the exact print area size. This is going to give you that highest resolution. If we open this arrow, we'll have an exact DPI or dots per inch for each product. This will help us prevent a pixelated outcome or just a straight up bad design. Now, in our product creator, let's add a design here quickly just to see an example. So we see here that this image is high resolution. We're here in the variants and layers panel. Let's say this design was a little bit bigger. Okay, we now see that it's down to a medium resolution. Okay, the print might be a little bit blurry, not exactly what you want. Now, our product creator, we do auto enhance some designs as much as we can, but it's not going to be perfect. Our best advice is to create that design file as high resolution as you can from the start. Okay, let's move back down here. Now, in the info button here as well, you'll also see some product and design guidelines. We talk about safe areas, bleed areas, print areas. These are very important to note. Every single product is going to have a print area or a safe area. And in the product creator here, that's denoted by this white area with a dashed line. So if you want to have any specific design elements or text elements, you want to keep it right in this white area to prevent it from potentially getting cut off during that printing process. AOP products in particular are going to have what's called a bleed area, and that's going to be denoted with this kind of gray border. Now, we want to make sure that our design is fully covering all of this, even the bleed area. In the bleed area, you're not going to want to put your important text or main elements, just a background color or if a pattern, have it cover the whole thing. Otherwise, you risk the chance of having like a white seam showing. Sometimes AOP cut and sew clothing, or if it's stretched out at the seams, you might notice white. So we want to cover the entire print area and that bleed area. Another thing we want to think about is optimizing our text. So optimizing it in the sense, let's look at an example here. Let's make it white so we can see it better. Now, text. You would want your customer or buyer to see the entire text on the print area. You'd want the text to be legible, clean, clear. If you have a very small item, like a mug or a small sticker or magnet maybe, you're not gonna want really fine, intricate text. So think about your typography as well as the actual item. Now, if we move our text, let's show an example outside of the print area here and look at a preview, we'll see that these important elements are getting cut off here, right? So we don't want a half text on our shorts. Now, another thing we need to think about is color profiles. This is a really big one. It's a pretty confusing topic for a lot of newbies especially, but even, some more experienced designers, sellers still kind of get this mixed up. The color profile here, we have RGB and CMYK. RGB works for your screens, electronic devices, and RGB is the color profile that our product creator accepts and uses. So if you submit a CMYK color profile design, we're gonna convert it to RGB. Our printers are going to convert it back to CMYK because physical products are printed with CMYK. And so these kind of excessive conversions back and forth are you're gonna lose some color there. I have a whole entire video on our YouTube channel explaining the nitty-gritty about it. You can go check that out. But in short, design your designs in RGB. You can preview them in CMYK either in your design software or right here in the product creator as you're seeing. So if I click on RGB, let's look at the purple color specifically. It's kind of like a nice bright purple. As soon as we click on that CMYK, it kind of dulls a little bit. This is gonna give you a more accurate representation of what the final print might look like, okay? Next thing too, we also wanna always adhere to intellectual property. When you are creating a design, never ever take anybody else's brand, their slogan, their logo. Even some colors might be copyrighted, I know. Always check the USPTO before designing anything, especially even some kind of more popular phrases that you might think, how can that be copyrighted? They can be copyrighted. So United States Patent and Trademark Office will drop a link to their database. You can check everything like that. And last but not least, the best thing that you can do to kind of check the most accuracy of your designs is order samples. Now, we know ordering samples can get pricey, especially if you have 50, 60, 100, 1,000 listings. You're not gonna order 1,000 t-shirts. You can if you want to, be my guest. But order samples of a couple of your maybe best sellers, or order something like a t-shirt and make the design with your most used colors, whether that's your brand colors, your logo colors, or even doing a simple like color palette, color chart as the design. Then you can compare how all of those colors print based on your design on screen and how it came out. And you can do it on like a black shirt and a white shirt and see how it looks on both light colored and dark colored items.
Good stuff, Leah. And we have a ton of links to support and color in the margins of what Leah was talking about, like our design guide, our embroidery guide, the Safe and Bleed Areas Help Center article, Leah's awesome CMYK and RGB video. That's one of our most popular videos of all time. And the link to the US trademark database. Those are going to be in the link, in the chat, and also in the description, so you can take advantage of them. Thank you very much, Leah. But let's go ahead and keep this design train rolling and give away a little bit of money before we say hello to our guest for the day. I'm going to ask you again to pull out your Printify accounts, ladies and gentlemen, and hit the left-hand side where it says Wallet and Reward Center. Find the coupon section and get ready to enter today's second coupon code, where 3 of you who type it in the fastest will win $15 of Printify sales credit. So if you are ready, let's go ahead and get it done. Ladies and gentlemen, go viral in 2025. Go ahead and type this in just as you see it on screen. And if you do win, let us know in the chat. And if you don't win, you'll see a notice that says this coupon does not exist. And that just lets you know that you have one more chance to win a little bit later. But this is all about going viral. And if I could just add a quick little anecdote here is, you'd be surprised how many times I'm talking to merchants and they tell me that the design that they never had any faith in, that they almost didn't publish, that's the one that took off. So you never know what's going to capture your customer's attention. Just publish those products, do your best with the design, and hope for the best, and you just never know what's going to be that next popular design.
I think it's one of those hard to swallow pills. You might absolutely love a design, but you're not your customer. You're not buying your products. They are. So if you don't think it's the best design or your favorite, who knows? Your audience might love it.
Exactly. It's a good problem to have when your least favorite designs are the ones that actually sell. But there you go.
Also, I need to say, we have another winner here. Martin won again. Are we having like a name collab here?
I swear I have nothing to do with this. Martin, you just must be the fastest typer out there. Congratulations, you are now $30 richer. But guess what? You still have another chance. Maybe you'll be our first 3 in a row winner on the show. I'm certainly rooting for you, not just because you have an awesome name. But let's go ahead and bring on our guest. His name is Trent Luer. He is one of the mentors on our Sellers Club. He's a seasoned software developer. Came to Print on Demand in 2020. You can find him at Technically Trent on YouTube, as well as on our Sellers Club, as I just mentioned. And he specializes in blending art and technology. Trent, how you doing today? Welcome to the Clicks to Riches show.
Doing great, Martin. Thanks for having me here.
Wonderful. All right. So before we get into the meat and potatoes of our discussion, I'm going to ask you a little icebreaker trivia question. You folks at home can play along. Put your guess into the chat. There's no prize for this other than knowing that you are just that much smarter than those that got it wrong. So Trent, if you're ready, I'm going to ask you our first trivia question.
Sure.
All right. In digital design for print on demand, which color model is typically used to ensure accurate color reproduction on physical products? Now, if you were paying attention to what Leah was saying earlier, you should know this. Okay. Is it A, RGB? Is it B, CMYK, C, HSB, or D, LAB? Okay. I'm going to read that one more time. Give our audience a chance to put their guesses into the chat. We'll see them rolling in just a second. But is it A, RGB? B, CMYK, C, HSB, or D, LAB? Okay, so are they coming in?
I'm seeing a lot of good answers. A couple might need to rethink or rewatch my segment.
Okay, well, the only answer I'm concerned about is the answer from our guest. So Trent, what say you?
It could be RGB.
It is actually CMYK.
Oh.
That is the color model that is known as cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. It's used in color printing because it corresponds to the 4 inks typically used in the printing process. No problem. There is no penalty for getting it wrong, but just know that you're 0 for 1, and next time you join us, you'll have an opportunity to redeem yourself. But
our members were kind of half also, CMYK, RGB.
Hey, that's no problem.
Answer.
That's no problem whatsoever. All right, well, let's go ahead, Trent. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, my background's kind of more tech-based, like software development and stuff, but I always had an interest in art and design, and I kind of started getting into more digital design, like in 2018, when I got an iPad, would start to do art on that. And then, during COVID, somehow I discovered, print on demand and Etsy and that type of thing. And I just thought it was like so awesome that, I could put my designs on things. I kind of started with t-shirts, but then I found other stuff that I was interested in, like clocks and rugs and desk mats. And it just kind of blew my mind, like anyone could just put their art on this type of stuff. And that's kind of how I got into it initially.
Okay, wonderful. Now, I mentioned that you were one of our Sellers Club mentors. Can you tell us a little bit about what the Sellers Club is and what people can expect from you if they join one of your sessions on there?
Yeah, it's really about providing hands-on support with our members, like the sellers. And if you're a seller on Printify and you're looking for you have specific questions and you want someone to help you individually, that's what you can get on the Sellers Club. We have the mentors there have spaces where they're dedicated to certain topics like Etsy or Shopify or trend research. And we also have our private live streams there where you can join, you can ask your questions, and we'll be happy to answer them. So it's really just kind of a more personalized environment to get support.
Okay, sounds like a wonderful resource. You folks out there better be taking advantage of it, and you can do so with your first month free with code Launchpad2025. And don't worry, we're gonna mention it again a little bit later. But Trent, where did you learn your design skills? How did you become the designer that you are today?
Yeah, I kind of say like a lot of people, I think I went to the University of YouTube, just kind of doing tutorials, Skillshare classes, and just kind of practicing things. One thing I recommend is, if you see designs you like online, there's this concept in art called the master study. So you can kind of take something and you try to recreate it as closely as possible, like identical. And you don't do this to sell, but you do this to like learn yourself. It's for a private, learning. And just kind of try to recreate like the designs you see, get the fonts right, get the composition right, see how the colors work, how are they doing textures, how are all these elements coming together? And you really learn a lot when you do that. So I recommend that for people who are looking to get started on how to learn design.
So what I'm hearing is basically this information is out there, and it's kind of up to you to go out there and seek it out. There's no need to spend a ton of money on expensive classes or anything like that, because that's one thing that's really cool about this industry. Whether we're talking about design or sales tips or anything like that, there's so much information out there, and the bulk of it is free. So I love the fact that that's how you came to your design prowess. Okay, but speaking of those tools that are out there, what's your go-to design software?
So I guess people who see my channel probably won't be surprised to say Affinity Designer is the one I like the most. It's a vector-based design program. and it's one-time payments. It's a desktop program, so it gives you lots of features in terms of handling fonts, vector graphics, color adjustments for images. Something I talk about also on my channel a lot is Canva. So that's another one people start with. I think it's a good place to start. It does kind of feel limiting if if you used other design tools. It kind of doesn't have certain features, but if you start there, it's a good way to begin. But I would like have a long-term plan to move on to something kind of more heavyweight. And Canva, the company, actually bought all the Affinity programs, so it's kind of one company now. So we'll kind of see going forward, like what type of integration there is there.
Okay, yet another example of mergers and acquisition in our industry. But yeah, Canva's probably the most popular out there. But folks, since it's Design Month on the Clicks to Riches show, our next episode that'll be going live on February 20th is going to tackle this topic. We're going to bring on representatives from Kittle, Creative Fabrica, and Mystic POD, three of the top design tools for print-on-demand sellers. And we're going to be discussing which one is right for you. So they're going to lay out exactly what it is they do, how they do it, and who it's for, so you can decide which one is the best one for you. And that's our next episode on February 20th. But let's not get off track here, Trent. Let's go into some advice. So what advice do you have for people out there with like zero experience in design and want to be successful in POD, like people at the beginning of their journey?
Yeah, like I said, I would say choose one simple tool. Don't get overwhelmed with all the options out there. A lot of concepts will translate to other things, so you don't have to worry about getting all your knowledge is going to be limited to one tool or something like that. So as you learn other stuff, a lot of the common concepts will migrate to it. So I'd say, just choose a tool. Don't stress over it too much. And then from there, like I said earlier, find examples of what you like and try to recreate them for learning purposes. Like just find simple text designs, do that. Find simple graphic designs, try to work on that, and just kind of build your knowledge as time goes on. You're never going to be done learning. So it's kind of get used to that process of always continuously improving your skills.
Yeah, and that's what's cool about all these tools that are available out there is that most, if not all, have like a free version or a trial version that you can try to see like which one like speaks to you. So that's actually great advice, Trent. But let's talk about let's talk about something our audience can put to work like right away. What are the top 5 design mistakes you see beginners make?
Yeah, so I kind of have seen these things based on, reviewing shops and getting feedback and stuff like that. And I do have some examples. If you want me to like actually walk through them, we can show as I talk about them, if you'd like.
Sure. The first one we're gonna show is rectangular designs.
Yeah, so I should start by just saying I made these examples for demonstration purposes, so we're not actually slamming real life shops or anything like that. But these are kind of some of the things I see often. So this first one, rectangular designs, there's nothing like technically wrong with it. I mean, there's shirts that have sold 1 million copies and they're based on a rectangle, but it's just kind of the default thing you see beginners do a lot. They just find a square image and they throw it on a t-shirt and they don't really move beyond that. And I think it kind of robs the design of a lot of the power. Like you don't get like the silhouette or anything like that. It just kind of looks like it wasn't really fully designed or thought through. So it's not the end of the world, but it does kind of look like a beginner's effort in a lot of situations. And one other thing I would say is that a lot of times, like this example I have on screen, when you see like the skull with the black background behind it, people will put like a black background on their image and they'll think that makes it look transparent because it's on a black hoodie or something. But actually the black in an image doesn't really match the black of the shirt. So it's not going to look quite correct. Same thing with like a white background on a white shirt. So I recommend trying to get like truly transparent elements and building a composition up from that. I think it'll just looks more visually interesting that way. So this is kind of the most common thing I see in a lot of new shops.
Okay, and then before we move on to our next example, this is a great opportunity for us to remind our audience that if you have questions for Trent about anything that he's covering, pop those into the chat, and our moderator Talis will collect them, and we'll address those during the Q&A portion. Okay. All right. Well, let's go ahead and move on to our next example. Now, this one is fonts and types. What do you have for us, Trent, on fonts and types?
Yeah, I mean, this is a huge subject. And again, some people, that's all they do is fonts and types. So like you could make your whole life studying that. My kind of Cliff Notes version of this would just be make sure the fonts are appropriate for the subject matter. So different fonts have different kind of feelings or different associations with them. I have this design here of like surfing on the left, and the two fonts, the one above it is kind of like this futuristic font, and the one below it is almost like a typewriter or something. And those aren't really the kind of things you want to associate with surfing. You want kind of more organic, natural fonts, something that looks a little more fun and playful. The one on the right, you can see there's lots of mixed fonts, and some really great designs on t-shirts have like these mixed font compositions, but it's tricky to get various fonts to look good together. And this is, again, comes to my advice on finding, examples of shops or designs that do it well and just study what they do. Another resource I like for fonts is if you find like Creative Fabrica or Creative Market, search their fonts selections. And a lot of times you'll see great examples with the fonts themselves, like how they're used, like the thumbnails for the font packages. They'll give you great ideas of like what fonts go well together or how to like decorate the fonts, what colors go well with them. So like I said, this is kind of it's definitely a art, not a science. There's no like strict rules you can say. It's just experience. But fonts are definitely something that can kind of scream like, beginner or more advanced designer.
Yeah, and on your little surfer design there, I think of like a text element, like I think of the ocean. So I want something like that's wispy or that's like fluid and stuff like that, that sort of matches the idea that that image conjures in your mind. But
Exactly.
I like where your head's at, Trent. Let's go ahead and check out your next example here. Now, this is a topic that is super hot right now. Like, let's talk about AI. This is generic AI. What do you have for us on robots today?
Yeah. So yeah, you said AI is a huge topic. I mean, definitely that's like an understatement. It's everything these days almost. And I'm not against AI designs or art at all. I actually have lots of tutorials about it on my channel. But there's kind of like a default generic look that I think we all kind of recognize these days. It's just kind of been the way it's been for a couple of years, kind of like the rainbowish things or the too computer graphic-y things. And, I recommend people, whatever AI tool they use, kind of get into some of the more advanced styles. There's certainly many tools like Midjourney these days are capable of making designs that are far more expressive and more varied art styles than kind of what we've seen in just kind of the generic things that we've been getting. And this is kind of people know what it looks like these days. Buyers are getting very sophisticated to the AI designs, so you have to actually put more effort into thinking about how to create them.
Yeah, do you think that's here to stay? This sort of like obvious, like when you're looking at an AI design, like there's that part of your brain that automatically recognizes it as being AI, or is this just because we're in the beginning stages of this whole thing? I mean, what do you think the future of that is going to look like?
Well, I think the future is now. The people that are using it correctly, people don't know that they're using AI. There is like very high-end designs that just look like they're actual real paintings done by people, or actually pencil art or watercolor art. I mean, if you go to Creative Fabrica, I can guarantee you almost anything you see that's created after 2024 was created with AI, regardless of like, whether it looks AI or not. Just you can tell just by the volume sometimes of how much these creators create. When someone creates like, 1,000 watercolor images in a week, they're using, AI
Yeah,
or something.
I suppose so. I suppose so, yeah.
Yeah. And I just kind of say like, creating, this goes to earlier, like who's the customer, creating pretty pictures, anyone can kind of do it these days. It's becoming a commodity. You have to create the images that match with your audience and like what they want. So that's really what the differentiator is going forward.
Yeah, and I suppose like AI prompt writing is really becoming like a skill, like it's almost
art
like
in
it's
itself.
it's an art in itself. So, but wonderful. Yeah, I'm very interested in this aspect of the business. But let's go ahead and move on. We've got product and design fit. I'm interested to hear your take on this.
Yeah, this kind of goes a little bit to what was mentioned earlier, and I kind of mean design fit like literally and figuratively. Like, does it physically fit on the products correctly, and also does it make sense on that product? And a lot of times what happens is I'll see new designers, they'll have, like I said, a rectangle or something. They'll fit great on one product, like a mouse pad, but then they'll try to put it on other things too, and it doesn't quite match. Like physically, it doesn't match. So you'll have like this white space there. And then kind of the other thing is, does it logically make sense on the product? So, we have this design here, can't stop loving you. Maybe it's nice for a Valentine's Day card or something. Do people really want it on a shower curtain? I'm not sure. You could, but I see this all the time. I think people just kind of, it's so easy to put your designs on many products that they'll just put it on everything. But, it's really, you want to make sure it makes sense on the thing you're putting it on.
Yeah, and I think it's important to just point out that our brains are hardwired to recognize patterns. That's just what we do. It's kept us alive, all these years. So when you create a design and you're looking at it and it just feels off, it's important to trust that instinct. Yeah.
Yeah, and something I recommend doing is like when you make a design, like sleep on it or give it like a week or so, go back and look at it later, zoom out, step away from your computer for a bit. That gives you a fresh perspective also on these patterns.
Yeah, good tip. Let's go ahead and check out your last example. Now, branding, a very important topic we touched on a little bit earlier. I'd love to hear your take on this.
Yeah, so like branding is good. I'm not against it. I think one of the issues though is that people all they have for their brand is just a word. Like they have this idea and they say, okay, my company is going to be called whatever, street fashion. And I'm just going to put that on a bunch of products and that's going to be what sells. And that works if your brand is, already supported somewhere else. Like if you actually have a large following online or something, or maybe you're selling, t-shirts with a fitness brand and you actually have a gym with that name, sure, go ahead and make merch for it. But a lot of times, like if you're just starting with a name that you're going to put on products, people don't really connect with that. The reason Nike can charge so much is because they spend billions of dollars associating their brand with athletes and all this kind of stuff. When you're just kind of starting by yourself with only a name, people don't really make that association.
Okay, yeah, I mean it's great for like Dolce and Gabbana, but let's face it out there, folks, we're not quite Dolce and Gabbana yet. But hey, listen to the Clicks to Richie show, get some mentorship from Trent. You'll be there in no time. Okay, wonderful. Well, I appreciate you taking us through those examples, Trent. But I want to hear a little bit from our audience. So, Leah, if you wouldn't mind, what are the questions directly from our audience today?
We have a lot of really good questions, and this first one is actually for Trent, right, on this brand topic. And two people asked about it. Do you suggest having my brand logo on products, on all of my products? Should I work them into my design somehow? What's kind of your take on that?
Good question.
Yeah, again, I think if it's like merch for something that exists already, go for it. Like if you have a YouTube channel or you have, a company or a business and you want to put that on something, maybe your fans can buy it. But my recommendation would be if they don't know what your name is outside of the product they're looking at, probably it's not going to be a selling factor, right? So again, it's do they know who you are already before they look at the product? That would kind of be my determining factor.
Okay.
Okay. Random Toaster Bob has a good question. Should I focus on text designs or graphics? What are the benefits of text designs?
Yeah, text designs, they look deceptively simple, but they can actually be quite sophisticated. And as I said when I showed the font one, text is a whole field in and of itself, typography. I would say go with it because text, a lot of times, a lot of the trending designs are based on text, based on a phrase, based on, quotes, make sure they're not IP quotes, as you said earlier. But it's hard for me to say, like, it depends on what your interest is because that's going to influence it the most. But not knowing that, I would say text is probably one I would look at to begin with.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah, and like you were saying earlier, there's a million different fonts out there. Just make sure that that font is applicable to your target audience. Okay.
Correct. Yeah.
What else do we have from our audience?
Yeah. My Vo, so also kind of do with like IP licensing. If we're using design elements from Canva Pro, do we need to check on licensing/reuse before we use them for our products, or are they there for us to use without licenses required?
Another good question.
Yeah, you'll have to check the Canva licensing terms. They have descriptions of it. There's like, if you're using their elements, you have to kind of make a certain number of modifications, if I remember correctly. Like if they have a flower, you can't just put the flower on a shirt and sell it. If I remember correctly. But if you put text around it and you put some other graphics around it, you can kind of build it up. So I would check the Canva licensing terms. I mean, this is kind of a legal question. So check the Canva licensing page. And they show some pretty clear examples, if I remember correctly, of like do's and don'ts, like what is enough modification of a design element versus not enough modification.
Yeah, but this just goes along with what we were talking about earlier about putting your own spin on the design. Because again, you have to find the value in, you have to find the value that other people, that your competition isn't providing. And one surefire way to do that is put your own stamp on it and differentiate yourself from other sellers out there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. You have to remember, like, if something was low effort for you, it's low effort for other people too. So.
Very good point. Very good. I might put that on a T-shirt. That's
some moment merch?
Yeah, exactly.
Click's Rich's moment merch?
Click's Rich's moment merch. Great. What else do we have?
Yeah. This is a really good question. Another one from Random Toaster Bob. What kind of AI prompts do you use to make non-generic designs? Any styles to recommend?
Yeah, so I use Midjourney a lot, and one of the things that's great about that program is you can actually, there's a tab where you can explore other people's designs that are public, and you can just get so many ideas from that. So you can like craft your own prompts, but you can also just explore like thousands and thousands of other people's art styles visually. And I think kind of visually browsing the results is much better than doing prompts. You can do prompts, of course. You're going to do the prompts for like specifically what you want, but in terms of the actual styles themselves, you can search other people's stuff. What's also becoming common, and this is happening on Midjourney, which again is midjourney.com. It's an AI image generation tool. They have a system now where you can basically just do endless surveys of what you like in terms of imagery. Like they'll give you 2 images and you just choose the one you like, and you just keep doing that over and over again. And it kind of builds up a profile of the styles that appeal to you. So you can actually use the style that appeals to you. It's just like a tag, and you can append that to your prompt, and your prompt will be something that's more what you like.
Yeah, my go-to is ChatGPT. I use ChatGPT to help me write these prompts. It's actually super quick, super easy. So don't sleep on that free resource as well. Okay?
That's cool too. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we have time for one more question. So Leah, pick out the best one.
There are so many good questions. We can't get all of them, sorry. But last question from Nick. Any tips for drinkware design? Want to sell some water bottles, but can't seem to nail the vertical design.
Ooh, good question. Good questions.
Yeah,
interesting.
really good questions.
Yeah. So this is going to be like the, again, like the product design fits. And I suppose like you're just gonna have to find out like what's that aspect ratio. I don't know the exact aspect ratio he's talking about, but on your niche, if there's things that are taller, like if it's summer, surfboards or things are taller, you might need to look more into like vertical text instead of kind of the horizontal text, because with drinkware, it's a cylinder type object. So it's very hard for people to see like, all sides of a cylinder at the same time, unless you're a Picasso or something. So there's going to be a very narrow sliver of like a cylindrical object that they can see. So keep that in mind when you're designing.
Yeah, that's all part of what we mentioned earlier about finding tailoring your designs for the product specifically, because we have these awesome what do we call them? These like big mugs.
They're tumblers.
They're tumblers,
right?
yes.
Big tumblers.
And this is a harbinger of a new aspect of what we offer here at Printify in terms of our printing capabilities, because these aren't necessarily printed; they're engraved. Okay, I don't know if you can see this. There's a little bit of but there's some really nice, engraving that's done on here. You can find this in the early access catalog on Printify. It's just a great opportunity now that this question came up to highlight some of the stuff that we're doing here at Printify, and we had these behind our desk, hoping for a chance to feature those. But thank you so much, Trent, for sharing your wisdom with us. But the party doesn't have to stop here, ladies and gentlemen, because Trent is available not only on his YouTube channel, but also on the Sellers Club, and you can connect with him and enjoy the benefit of his wisdom there. Sign up for a month free using Launchpad 2025 and take advantage of what Trent has to offer. Thank you so much, Trent, for sharing your time with us today. It was an absolute pleasure, but we're going to go ahead and wrap things up here, okay?
Thank you.
Wonderful. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for our third and final coupon code. Last chance to win. I don't know.
We did have another winner, not Martin, but Carmen was our second winner as well. So
okay, all right. Well, but we should place our bets. Is Martin going to win for the third time? I don't know. Okay,
place your bets in the chat.
But I'm pulling for you, buddy. I'm pulling for you. So I'm going to ask you to pull out your Printify accounts once again. On the left-hand side, click Wallet, go to Reward Center, go to the coupon section, and prepare to enter today's third and final coupon code. sellers clubs. I can't make it too easy for you folks, but we were just talking up the sellers clubs. It's all the sellers club. It's all one word, spelled just like this. Case sensitive. Let us know if you won, Martin. I am on pins and needles to know if you typed it in time to win 3 in a row. So let us know in that chat.
But
okay?
Martin has fans in the chat here as well. I hear, go Martin, go.
Exactly. Maybe they're talking about me. You don't know.
Well, maybe.
All right, but we know everyone's rooting for you out there, Martin. So good luck. All right, well, let's bring it home, ladies and gentlemen, with our action plan. How can you put to work all of the information that we presented you today? Because we threw a lot of stuff at you, okay? So let's just start out with the basics. Folks, come up with a plan. At the very beginning, don't just start out with no direction whatsoever. Make sure you know who you're selling to. Make sure you know their desires, their demographics, how those desires change on a seasonal basis. You know, you could probably sell a lot more hockey pucks in the winter than you can in the summer. Same thing, and reverse for tank tops and things like that. So that's all the stuff you have to consider. Okay, come up with a plan.
After you've come up with your plan, consider personalization. We've said it before, we'll say it again and again. Personalization is super hot right now. It's gonna make you stand out in those bigger marketplaces. You can personalize any product in our catalog, enable it, go check it out.
Personalization, people. I'm preaching the gospel of personalization. Get on board. We made it easier than ever. Competitor research, ladies and gentlemen. Anybody within the sound of my voice, make competitor research part of your regular workflow, okay? You'll learn so much from your competition, not only from what designs they're selling, what products they're featuring to their customers, but also what they're not doing. You can identify how they are failing to meet the needs of their audience, and then source products and create source products from our catalog, create designs to fit, identify those gaps in the market, and then target them accordingly. Competitor research, ladies and gentlemen.
And also use that to identify market trends. See what current design styles are selling, colors, fonts, themes, typography. Incorporate these trends into your designs while still maintaining originality.
Right, and adhere to copyright guidelines and intellectual property. Don't infringe on other people's intellectual property, okay? Now, when we say competitor research, I'm not saying just take what they do and start doing it yourself. You've got to learn from them and make that make it your own, okay? We make sure you comply with the trademark database. We have that information in our chat and the description. But folks, infringing on intellectual property is not a long-term strategy for success. You will get caught, and all that hard work that you put into building your business on the backs of others will come to an end. Please, whatever you do, don't do it.
Mm-hmm. And last but not least, take advantage of all the resources around you.
Yes.
Our live shows, we've got trends, keywords.
Sellers Club.
Our blog, Sellers Club, of course. We've got Trent there, amazing mentors. Our YouTube channel, use those to your advantage.
Exactly, and that's what makes this industry so unique, is because there's so much information, educational and otherwise, whether you prefer watching videos, whether you prefer reading articles, a simple Google search, a simple YouTube search will get you on your journey, and it's all free, okay? Become a student of this industry. Join me for my live Q&A sessions that I do on Mondays and Wednesdays, and do yourself a favor, make this a priority for you, and again, take advantage of all that information that is out there. All right, let's leave you with an inspirational story, and this is one that I love. This is about Jessica Lathrop. We're going to pop in a link to her story here, and what I really like about her story is that she started on Etsy in 2009. So she's like one of the founding members of this of the Etsy empire. And what she did was she took a combination of standalone designs and coupled them with a layer of personalization, and was able to drive herself into the top 1% of Etsy. It's a very interesting story, and I'm sure it's something that you can identify with. So we're going to pop that link for you into the chat. Discover Jessica's story and be inspired by it. And who knows? maybe you'll end up in our inspirational segment one day. And I'm rooting for you, okay? All right, folks. Well, one last plug. And again, I'm nothing if not a shameless self-promoter. Join me on Mondays and Wednesdays on the Sellers Club. Connect with Trent on there as well. It's only going to cost you $5 a month, but it's going to be your go-to place to find all the information you need. I don't know of a better way to spend $5. Okay, than joining our Sellers Club, because the returns are going to be massive. And you can sign up today using code LAUNCHPAD2025, spelled just like this, to get your first month free. So come join me Mondays and Wednesdays. Let's talk about what you want to talk about. All right, well, we're going to go ahead and wrap up today's episode. I thought it was pretty good. What do you think?
I think it was perfect.
Excellent. All right. Well, we've only scratched the surface on Design Month here on the Clicks to Riches show. Join us for our next episode that will be going live on February 20th, where we'll be bringing on our design partners, Kittle, Creative Fabrica, and Mystic POD. And Mystic POD is really actually a very, very interesting tool, because it's an AI design tool designed specifically for POD sellers. So so we got something for everybody, regardless of where you are on your journey. Again, that is on February 20th, right here live on YouTube. So, Trent, do you have any last words for our audience before we say goodbye?
I'll just say, hope to see you in the Sellers Club in the future.
Very well put. Leah, how about you?
Practice makes perfect. Keep practicing your designs, and you're going to get that bestseller.
Exactly. Have fun, and above all else, have fun out there with your designing. It's actually a very rewarding part of the process. Stimulate that creative part of your brain. Join us again for the Clicks to Riches show on February 20th. But for now, on behalf of Leah and Trent and the rest of the crew here at the Clicks to Riches show, thank you for spending your time with us, and goodbye.